And Preston are back. That was a Preston performance. Hard work, aggression and passion. A great point, and that was a common thread throughout most of the social media following an impressive performance at the Middlesbrough. Lucky or impressive? We'll find out as we explore where Preston... Oh, for fuck's sake. I'll do that all again. I don't make mistakes on other ones. It's always yours. I don't know if it's because it's late in the night or...
It's karma for pulling that tweet off that account.
Is it genuinely, is he a hated? Is it because I won't lead with that if that's not...
Well, he's blocked pretty much most of the Preston fans, but I don't know.
Is he?
Some people, but yeah, he's...
Okay, we'll start with that one instead then. Cheers for that, mate.
Yeah. No, still put him on, mate. Don't worry. It's not that bad.
All right, okay. I'll go with it. It's fine. Okay. Oh, that was a Preston North End performance to be proud of. Hard work, aggression, and passion. Or, as some were saying, lucky. Well, to answer that question, we've got Ash, Etienne, and Harvey back on Where Preston North End Walk. It's the most quickest and comprehensive review of all things Preston on the internet. It's game week 6. Welcome back, Ash, Etienne, and Harvey, fresh back from the northeast. We'll jump straight into it then, shall we? Etienne, let's start with you this week. Was that lucky that you got a point, or did you deserve it?
There's kind of two sides of the coin. You know, you could say that Middlesbrough probably deserved the 3 points more than we did by the way they played, by the fact they maybe should have had a goal more or two. But then you can also argue that we never usually come away from Riverside, especially in recent times, with the 3 points. And the way we played, you know, we ground out a result. We may have not have had as much possession in the second half, but yeah, I feel personally like we deserve that point coming away.
Ash, would a Ryan Lowe team have lost that game?
It's tough to say, I guess, but yeah, I think they would. I think a lot of the pressing wouldn't have happened, and we were pressing them quite high, and that we just haven't seen that for a long time. So I think that's what made the difference.
There's a video on I think Preston have put out of the tackles that were flying in there. Crikey. Heckingbottom's got your team fired up, hasn't he, Harvey? Is that something that you've noticed different in terms of tenacity in tackling?
It was definitely more of like an aggressive mindset, which I think Preston missed for a really long time. I definitely enjoyed that little minute spell where we just seemed dead up for it, and I genuinely thought we were going to score at some point. So it's really refreshing to see. Okay,
let's have a look at some social media takes from the game. All generally very positive, actually, for a change. Alex says, absolutely take that. I have no idea how we got a point. Tom says, I thought the second half was brilliant and we could have even nicked it. I really like the look of Greenwood and Bowler, but we've got a huge problem with a lack of pace at the back. Let's talk about Greenwood first of all. Obviously, going back to his old club at Etienne. What did you make of his contribution?
Definitely looked a lot more up for it than he had in previous games. Showed a bit more of the, you know, flashes of excellence that he produced at Leeds when he was playing in the Prem, and some of the things we saw at Middlesbrough are definitely kind of replicated the work rate he was showing at Harrogate. So it's good to see that he can do it in a championship game with us. And, you know, I'm very excited to see, you know, if he continues his work rate, what kind of product we could get from him.
Okay. The Bowler, I'll let you do that one. Actually, we've talked about Bowler a lot already in recent weeks, but is he getting better and better each week?
Well, it's the first time we've seen him for us. I like the fact he's direct and he doesn't look afraid to lose the ball. You know, he looks like he'll keep having a go, and if he loses the ball, so be it. But eventually, it's going to come off. And yeah, we've missed that. I mean, we had it a bit with Miller last year, but he was a bit one-dimensional. I think Bowler just has a bit more to his game.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of this comment about the pace, the back not having any pace, Harvey, where do you think that's coming from? Is that evident to see?
Yeah, definitely. You can see it with the Middlesbrough goal. Obviously, what Moore's at full pelt trying to get back, and he's absolutely nowhere near it. I think we definitely do lack, a centre back with a lot of pace and a lot of control. I think the only one with slightly any is probably Story, and it's still not enough. So, yeah, I do think we missed the trick with that part in defence.
Okay. Let's look at some more then. This was nice to see, and there's a few mentioned in this, Etienne. It's nice to have a manager who makes positive substitutions, and a nice one from Nathan here about the press in the second half. We won't go into what the second half of that sentence means. What about the substitutions then? And something we've criticised Lowe for many weeks, and even going into last year about the lack of them. And too quickly, is it nice to finally see a manager who seems to know what he's doing?
Yeah, I do. One of the top things for me was seeing at halftime, not afraid to take Ockles off and bring Bowler on immediately to try and change the game and adapt to the situations. Ockles just looked a bit lost, and obviously Bowler's had experience at this level and just went straight at him. And even though we got nothing from it, it was good to see Heckingbottom adapt to the way the game was going and, wasn't afraid to make that change.
Ash, did you jump on board with that?
Yeah, completely. I wish we were seeing Osmajic from the start. I would have made the sub for Reece. I think he looked a bit lost, but everything else was pretty much spot on, to be honest. No complaints.
Okay. There's a few other ones saying, it needs to be 3 points. So points great, but we need to start turning points into 3. What do we have? 3 games now. Do any of you believe that Preston are going to be in a relegation fight from what you've now seen?
No,
I don't think so. I think that if we'd have kept Lowe until maybe October, November, we could have been in trouble. Under the current managers, I can't see that happening.
No, you've certainly got the squad, haven't you, in order to be comfortably mid-table and maybe even higher. That's good to hear. We'll talk about Blackburn in a second. But first of all, in terms of attendances and Deepdale, all of you have mentioned already this season how poor it's been. This game on Sunday, with it being on Sky and being against a local rival, this should be a sellout, shouldn't it? And it should be raucous. Will it be, Ash?
Not where I sit. But yeah, I think it'll be quite a decent crowd. It's usually a pretty good atmosphere. I don't know if the rivals, I know it's a derby, but I don't really class them as rivals. But I think there's a lot of, it's really close by. And, I'm from Chorley. There's kind of a mix between, Blackburn and Preston fans. And it's quite friendly, I think, in some aspects, but I don't think it'll be friendly at the weekend because we need a win.
Yeah. They've started quite well, Harvey. Would you take a point now from this game?
With the form Blackburn are on, I think definitely I'd take a point. But I've got to be optimistic and obviously hope for the 3 because, like I said, I think players are usually up for it in these kinds of games.
Okay. In terms of starting 11, Etienne, what does he have to go with or make changes from the Middlesbrough starting 11?
Get Lindsay back in. I think we need, especially if they end up bringing someone like Guay on as he comes back from his suspension. I think we're going to need that aerial ability. Definitely get Bowler into the starting lineup, and just maybe don't overcomplicate things. If Osmajic gets a couple of goals against Fulham tomorrow, I'd go with Osmajic. I think I would have gone with Osmajic anyway, but he just looks a bit more comfortable than Reece at the moment, and I don't think Keane's available at all. So. Osmajic up front for me. But apart from that, maybe Theddarson as well. Just don't overcomplicate things and don't panic, especially if we end up getting a result against Fulham. Just keeping the mindset of what happened at Middlesbrough and only make 1 or 2 changes.
Okay. And how do you keep Tyree Stolen quiet, Ash?
He pretty much does that himself when he comes to Deepdale. I don't know. He panics. I think what's important for me is to play Kessler Hayden at left wing back and Potts on the right. I think if we play the world's slowest defence again, then he has a small chance of doing something. But generally, I don't know if it goes to his head or something when he comes back to Deepdale, but he never really worries me. He'll probably go and score a hat-trick now I've said that.
Okay. All right. Drop us a comment. below if you in terms of your score predictions, and please do subscribe to the channel. We are growing in numbers. We are the shortest Preston podcast out there, but we are certainly do the full coverage of everything that's going on in the club. Any other news from the club that we need to cover before we jump into left backs? See, Harvey, you're smarting the new third shirt. Let's give it a quick twirl for us. Very nice, very nice. Any other news coming out of the club that we need to discuss?
Blackburn are a really tiny club. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, I just want to put that out there.
Brilliant. Etienne?
I was going to go a bit more serious and mention Kean Best having a bid turned down from Saudi Arabia, and then it's still not looking like he's going to be involved anytime soon in the first team, and it just boggles the mind a bit. I can't imagine what the bid was, but if he's getting attraction from especially Saudi Arabia at the moment in this market, there's got to be something about him.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. And can I ask you about Steve Bruce as well, because that news has broken since we last met. Not that you care too much, but were you surprised, Harvey, that he went to Blackpool?
Yeah, I remember my friend mentioned it in a group chat, and at first I genuinely thought it was just a random joke. And 5 minutes later, it turned out he'd actually been announced. I saw many Blackpool fans wasn't actually very happy. And then obviously they all jumped on it as soon as they won at the weekend. So
yeah, we'll come back to that maybe in future. And of course, if you win your game and they win their game against Blackburn, we could have a derby on our hands in the next round. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's have a look at left backs before we finish them. We've done goalkeepers. How's my mate Freddie doing, by the way?
Awful.
He's not great, is he? He's not great.
Yeah. He just did not want to save that Tommy Conway shot, did he?
No. We've done central defenders, so now we're on to left backs. Okay, it'll be a short conversation here. Ash, you can take it. When all fit, who's the best left back, and are you concerned about this position in terms of strength and depth?
Yeah, probably none of them. I think Hughes and Best are probably best in a back three at left centre back. I'm a big fan of Kean Best. I think he'll end up being a top player. I don't want to speak on Robbie Brady because you say he's terrible and then he comes and gives you a 10 out of 10 performance. You give him some credit and then he gets sent off in the 6 minute or something. So it's not worth me talking about him. But yeah, it's possibly one of the worst selections on the left side since I started supporting the club.
Etienne, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think none of them are the best left back at the club. I do think it is Kane Hayden, and that's saying something considering he's only been here for 4 or 5 games. Obviously, that's not me putting down Best and Hughes. I can completely agree with Ash. They're better as left centre backs. And Robbie Brady, well, let's hope he remembers who he hates and absolutely scores a hat trick against Blackburn. But for 90% of the season, he does do nothing. And yeah, it just says everything. I do think it's one of the worst left back selections from my time and possibly in the entire league as well.
Okay. Harvey?
Bang on, both of them.
Okay, all right. At this point, we'd usually ask you for your August player of the month in terms of who's impressed and who you want to shout out. But I'm going to give you a pass on this month and ask you for it September, unless any of you want to shout out any player for recognition for what they contributed in August. Don't all shout at once.
Kane Hayden, probably the only one.
We've
done that one.
Did the least wrong anyway.
I mean, Osbaich won Player of the Round in Carabao Cup. That's got to account for something.
We'll give it them. Okay, September Player of the Month. Though we'll get you back on September Player Month. Listen, thanks for joining us again. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your Lancashire hot pot. I hope it's a fiery one. I'm going to sit down and watch this one myself on Sunday. So make it a good one, please. Don't bore the nation. And we'll catch you next Monday evening. And all episodes dropped on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. Cheers, Ash. Cheers, Etienne. Cheers, Robbie. And thank you for watching. Cheers, fellas.
Thank you.